We're going to talk a little bit about student employment and career resources. I spoke with you a little bit this morning, but it was super fast, so I'm going to try to dig in a little bit. Why are my slides not working, Seth? There they are. All right. My name's Sarah DePuter. I'm Assistant Director for Student Employment here on campus.
And I'm Seth Kleinwort. I'm the Assistant Director in the John P. Fahey Career Center. There we go. So you've probably already heard a couple sessions about the Success Center, but just to reemphasize, we in the Career Center are under the umbrella of student success, and we work closely with the Success Center. And so if you ever have any questions and forget that the Career Center exists, which you won't because we're amazing, you can always contact the Student Success Office. And I think they came up with this little thing to remember is if you don't know what to do, call 1212. Pretty clever, was not me, but they are awesome. And honestly, if your students are struggling or just have questions of just not who to talk to, I need a resource, they can always go here and then they can point them in the right direction. Perfect. So the John P. Fahey Career Center, we are located here in the Harper Center. We're on the first floor. So most of the time you've been like on the second floor. So the first floor right next to card services where you got your cards, we're on the right-hand side. So right there where students can access us. And this is all the services that we provide students and more. But I think, you know, the big thing that I want to hit on is the career advising and assessment. So if your student is not quite sure what they want to do, or if they do know what they want to do, but they're just not sure how to get there, that's something that we really thrive in, and being able to help students point them in that direction of here are some steps that you can take and get that experience. Resumes, cover letters, a lot of networking opportunities. Our career fairs are typically full with employers. So we always have opportunities. We have a really good alumni network that we're working with closely, and then a bunch of just different operational helpful things for students as they're gaining those experiences. And we try to get every student in the Career Center, but that's just not possible. So we do a lot of reach out with faculty and classes and other workshops and activities.
And the Student Employment Office, on the other hand, we fall under the financial aid umbrella. And that's mainly because we are also in charge of the federal work study program. So we do need to monitor that program closely. But we're also in this building, lower level, Harper 1100. And just some things to think about when you're talking with your students after you kind of decompress after these couple of days. I know it's been full of information, but reasons to maybe consider working on campus. There's so many great reasons. Of course, they get paid. That's a big one. But their supervisors are going to be super flexible with their schedules. They may work 2 hours in the morning, go to class, come back and work 2 hours. Very flexible. School classes will always come first with on-campus work. And it's a great way to get to know other students, other faculty and staff. It's a great connection maker. And we know, and we're learning, the more connections you have on campus, the more successful you're going to be. There are so many options: TA, work in the rec center, library, research, so many different opportunities. So it will help your student discover what they are interested in, and maybe even more importantly, what they aren't interested in. We do, as supervisors, work with our students through the Student Employment Program to help them develop their career competencies. We want them to be ready to leave Creighton, ready to go and be professional out in the real world. So that's part of student employment as well. And of course, it's a great resume builder. We have research opportunities, a lot of different projects that align with what students are studying. So it's just a great way to get some experience. And of course, getting paid. We like that.
So experiential learning, just a fancy way of saying that they learn through experiences. Thank you. That's my boss, y'all, right there. So this is something that we pride ourselves in here at Creighton, is our students really finding ways to learn outside of the classroom and really gaining those hands-on experiences. And that's something that Sarah and I are really proud of with our on-campus opportunities as well. Like she mentioned, there's lots of research and internships and just other jobs that students can build their resume, learn how to become professionals. So that way, when they go out into the real world, they're more prepared and sure what they need to do. But what we try to do here at Creighton in the Career Center is really push for all of these in different ways. So student employment, federal work study. Sarah's going to talk about federal work study here in a little bit, which is just a very specific way of on-campus employment. Internships, just think of that as, if you don't know what an internship is, it's like a real job, but then a step down. It's more about learning than doing. So it's learning about that profession, learning about that type of work, learning how to be in that type of setting, as well as getting paid, as well as getting experience in doing that job. Study abroad, FLIPAs, lots of great experience through there. Service and justice trips. This is something that's unique with students and an opportunity here at Creighton. So during fall break and spring break, students will go with other students and go to other different cities and go on trips and be really immersed in those service opportunities. So instead of doing something around here for a couple hours a week or 1 hour every week, doing something in the community, which is great. This is, you're going to Chicago and you're going to be in for 3 or 4 days, you're going to be helping this volunteer organization day in, day out. You're going to be sleeping there. You're going to be living with these people. And you're going to be working hard. And they love it. A lot of students come back, and that's a great way to gain experience outside of their little bubble that they're creating here, and just get to know other people. Undergraduate research, lots of research opportunities here. We partner with Curis for the Center of Undergraduate Research and Scholarship, and we use them to help students gain research experience. So they partner with faculty to help them gain that academic research experience that students are really asking for, especially those who are furthering their education. It's not just for science students. We have a lot of business students who do this as well, and it's great. And then finally, student organizations and leadership programs. Our students here at Creighton are heavily involved, whether that be through experiential learning like internships or jobs, but also just things for fun, things that they're interested in. I've worked at 2 other institutions, and Creighton students by far are the most involved that I've ever been a part of. And I think that leads to a lot of success and opportunities for them, whether that be for just having fun or leadership programs. So if your student is interested in something, I guarantee that we have something for them. Handshake is the platform that we use not only for students to meet with us, and I'll show you a little bit of like how they access that, but also how we push opportunities into students. So you can kind of see some stats here. We have a little bit over 17,000 employers connected to Creighton. Other universities have Handshake as well, and other employers are connected to them. But this means that they've chosen to connect with us and vice versa. In the last year, we've had a little bit over 3,000 new employers. And overall, and then we've had some job and internship posting a little bit over 97,000. And you can kind of see other opportunities that we've had on Handshake. So you can see there's a multitude. And this is not just Omaha. These are other states as well, other cities. And so if students are trying to find opportunities back home or wherever they want to go, like we have something that we can help connect them with. So when students first log in, this is what Handshake's platform looks like. If you want to take a look at this, just have the student log in. They all have a login already with their net ID. They just need to log in once they have that password, and they can start making appointments with us. They can start applying to jobs on campus or otherwise. And so when they click the job tab, this is what's going to look very similar to most job search platforms. When you're looking at for opportunities, you're going to have the jobs here on the left, and they have the little bookmark thing. And I love that because I can tell students, hey, click that and just keep scrolling. And then if you're interested in it, you can just go to your saved file and you can keep finding that. Then on the right, you have opportunities. And this is great because if it's on campus, you can just apply, upload your resume, cover letter, any other materials. I know some on-campus employers are looking for like class schedules, or if they need some specific academics, they can ask for like what classes they've taken. Location, and then you actually want to go to the next slide because I want to get to the filter. So when students are looking, they can filter whether it be on campus, full-time, part-time jobs, and there's also remote tab. So if our students are looking for remote opportunities, whether they're going back home and trying to find something here remote or vice versa, that's another tab that they can look on Handshake and find those opportunities. And so yeah, we use Handshake a lot. This is how they make appointments to see me or anybody else in the office. For employers to schedule for the career fair. We use it a lot, but I'll hand it back to Sarah to talk about federal work study and how that's a little bit different.
Yes. And this morning I talked a little more on federal work study than regular. departmentally paid jobs. But it's important to note that your student, whether they're federal work study eligible or not, will use Handshake to find their jobs. And as you can see up here, I think, yes, this job description has the letters FWS. That means that particular job is reserved for federal work study students. Now, there is a filter within Handshake that should help alleviate any of that confusion where federal work study students are seeing those jobs where other students aren't. So it does kind of help with that process. But Handshake is where your students are going to want to go to search for any on-campus jobs. I would anticipate towards the end of June, early July is when we're going to have the federal work study jobs posted. Student employment departmentally paid jobs, I would say keep checking all summer long. They come as departments are ready to, when they've analyzed their needs and they know what they're going to need. So have your students check back regularly this summer and apply for more than one job. You may not get your first pick, but if your student wants to work, they're willing to do the application process and all the follow-up, we'll make sure they have a position. So like any other job that they would have off campus, they do have to do their pre-employment paperwork for any on-campus job, federal work study or student employment. So students will need to come to the student employment office in person with their I-9 documents in hand. Typically for a student, that will be a passport or a social security card or a birth certificate. It does need to be the original document, and they do have to have it in person. So if your students brought those while they're here, stop by when you have time tomorrow. We'll get that all processed. And then that's one less thing you'll have to do during Welcome Week. A couple other things I want to mention about on-campus employment is pay. So Nebraska minimum wage right now is $12 an hour. It's going to bump up to $13.50 in January. So your students will be guaranteed at least $12 and then $13.50 for their pay. Our jobs on campus, we do have a wage matrix in place so that if your student's job, if they have more responsibility or they're in charge of a project or something where they're just more involved and have greater responsibility, the pay can be higher. So we do want to compensate for the work that's being done. So we like to open it up to questions and give you some extra time. Seth, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we open to questions?
Nope.
Okay, so if anybody has questions, we're happy to answer. Yes, the question is if students come in and do all their paperwork and everything, can they log into Handshake and start applying? Your student can actually apply for jobs first. So like if your students don't have their paperwork with them, that's okay. Bring it back Welcome Week, but you can still apply over the summer, secure a job, be ready to start, and then we'll do that piece when you get here in the fall. Any other questions?
Great.
All right. Well, we're going to give you some time back because I know your day has been packed full. So enjoy, take a breather before you have to go to your next event, which I think is a fun one. Thank
If you have
very
questions that
much.
you didn't want to ask publicly, we'll be
Yes.
here because we have a presentation right after this again. So feel free to come down.